Hello, welcome to Citizens Forum. This is Tuesday, March 8th, 2016. First part of Citizens Forum is always the Walton Jack Show. Today it's the Mazin and Jack Show. Welcome, Mazin. We're going to start off by talking about a story you're working on, which is the attempt to set off a couple of bombs at the BC legislature in 2013, July of 2013. This has been presented to us as a major terrorist threat and attack thwarted by the RCMP. But as the case went on, we start to find out that in fact, it looks as if the RCMP made it happen. It's something that never would have happened without the RCMP instigating it and kind of doing it. And this should be a huge story, but it isn't. It should be front page news because if it is true that the RCMP and the Harper government engineered a plan to create a situation of fake terror in order to manipulate the people of Canada, then that is a very, very serious situation indeed. And that's basically the story that you're working on.
Hi, Jack. Thanks for having me again. And first of all, I wish Walter good health. He has the flu. And hopefully next week be back. His energy, critical mind, and knowledge are rare qualities in these days around. But just continuation from the last segment we were talking. As we said before, we want to find out what exactly happening here because unfortunately the professional journalist, the professional mainstream media failed to ask some basic simple question to give us clue about what's happening. And unfortunately, it's up to people from the community now to spend energy and time and effort and all that mostly volunteer work to find out what the professional is supposed to do. And again, it's the importance of this issue. It's not like having far away where we cannot really find out about it or we had to depend on media, foreign media to know about it. It's happening in our own town. And government, all agency who supposed to be working for people need to respond to community concern. And the police of Victoria, the city hall, I mean, everybody need to know about what's happening, especially when you have two individuals are on disability assistance from Surrey come to Victoria to do a terrorist attack, and whether it's true or whether the RCMP made these two ill individual become a radical and assist them in the whole issue. In both cases, people need to get to the bottom of that.
Yeah, so right now, I mean, I've lost track of the case, but right now, the couple, John Nuttall and Amanda Carodi, are in prison. They have been convicted by a jury of planting bombs, because how could they not convict them? It was all on video. But now the judge is ruling on the issue of, was it entrapment? Was it entrapment by, I guess, the RCMP and or CSIS and the Harper government? So that's all I know, but I don't know anything about, is the case in court now or is the judge deciding? Do you know?
This is what we are going through. We are gathering all the scripts from the court.
Yeah. But you don't know what stage the case is at right now?
The stage now is the judge waiting actually for CSIS to provide information about the issue. The judge mentioned before, she mentioned that she preferred if the defense focus on the RCMP operation called the Project Souvenir and their misuse of power instead of go and include now CSIS. But the defense want to know the connection between CSIS and John Nuttall before CSIS tipped RCMP about John Nuttall.
So the RCMP was after John Nuttall because they were tipped off by CSIS
Yes.
that he was a guy to be watched.
Yeah, but the problem here, he himself requested a meeting with CSIS in early 2012 to tell them about some weird incidents he saw in mosque. So he wanted to report on some suspicious activity, and now he became the suspicious guy in the end. And there is one more thing that the defense asking about if CSIS itself, the undercover from CSIS, has a role in radicalizing John Nuttall in the first place. So and this is one of the important points I thought people need to look at how John Nuttall and Amanda Crowley became Muslim in the first place. They are not known to the Muslim community anywhere, and they seem they've been learned it on their own. And if we have CSIS here involved in teaching them what is Islam here, so now we have a complete convenient story, much as you said, the Harbor agenda to bring bills like C-51 and other, which they were around that time, ready and waiting for something like that just to give an excuse.
So if this is the case, if the Government of Canada and CSIS and the RCMP essentially created a terrorist act, then why did they do it? Was it to sow fear, anger, and division among the people of Canada? And right now, that's the judge is waiting to hear from CSIS. So the couple is in prison.
Yes.
The judge has said, I want to see something from CSIS.
Yes.
But CSIS won't show it.
Twice they declined because they asked the judge.
So they can decline forever and they'll just stay in jail.
Yeah, because they would want to protect the identity of the human resource, and they want to the same story about the national security issue. But the judge responded back by saying no, the issue of protection of the identity could be managed, but the document, the defense has the right to see all these documents, and so we are waiting for that.
It's a dangerous thing for all of Canada if our government and the media and the secret police, the CSIS, and the RCMP, the National Police, in fact, entrapped two people into committing a terrorist act and then use that to create fear and anger towards Muslim people, which is exactly what the story was, then, we have to say, what the hell is going on in this country?
Not just that, if you look to the bill of it, we know that only on overtime, 911,000, and I'm glad that Norm corrected me last time. I thought it was 900,000, the project souvenir cost. Actually, that it's only the overtime we were giving, and a big chunk of that went to a few, not a big number, but in the operation there was 241 officers working on John Nuttall and Amanda Crowley. Spending all that money instead of taking care of two individuals who need to be taking care of the hospital or taking care of their addiction, taking care of their mental issue. Instead of that, no, they try to inform us to have the outcome. We have two terrorists and we need to be afraid. As you said, it's kind of just creating a fear toward a group of, now it's a turn of Muslim. We had it back in the history here, Japanese, whether, or we know it's always the same story repeated, but now a new victim.
Before, it's the same story repeated, now a new victim. That's
it's
exactly.
1979. If you look just before that year, you will never ever find something talk about radical Muslim. Suddenly, after the Mujahideen in Afghanistan and the revolution in Iran, that became an issue. Now, who are the Mujahideen? And now they don't use the word Mujahideen. They fabricate a new word, jihadi, jihadist.
ISIS.
Exactly, Isis, which is the name of Egyptian goddess.
But it started with the Mujahideen, which were funded by the United
American
States.
assistant of the Saudi and the Pakistani, and this
so
is
they
so.
started it, and they run it until today. And this has nothing to do with the people of the United States or even the government of the United States. It's the controllers of the United States. They create this war, and is this John Nuttall, Amanda Karoti thing just one more part of the script that's being told to us to create fear and division? I mean, if that's what's going on, then
Exactly.
wow.
Whether there is connection between the story here in Victoria and all the story around what the trend of Islamic terrorism around the world. But the most important thing, it's happened in a community here in the city. And it's something we need to find out about, whether it has a connection to, as I said, to a trend or no. It's just isolated things happened in our town. That to bring again a couple from Surrey to Victoria, to make that on a Canada Day, and then make all the media stunned, and then later find out that no, they were giving them money. They were even, at some point, as I mentioned in the last segment, John Nuttall asked for spiritual assistance. They told him what it's going to give you. So for the undercover officer told him that all our lives in the hand of God, Allah. It's so kind of, and only the Vancouver Sun, I noticed, follow on that issue.
Yes,
and but they are also
some good stories.
Yeah.
Mazin, we're out of time.
Thanks for having me again, Jack.
And I don't know, it's an issue. I mean, there's so many important issues. This one just shows the potential of a dark side that, if it's true, then we've somehow as a nation got to deal with it, because we've got big problems. Thanks for watching this segment of Citizens Forum.